Welcome to Empower Hour. Let's get growing. Good morning. I have to laugh. Sorry. So much chaos here in a good way. Just growing, expanding, full of energy, full of ideas. And I'm in full on beach mode because I'm actually going to the Dominican Republic tomorrow for 3 weeks. It will be a work trip. I actually will be working on finishing my book. No, I commit to finishing my book, which will be titled Becoming Antifragile. So this is a little treat today. And at the end of this, I'm going to be announcing an offer that came to me in a huge download of my mission to try to help as many people and businesses tap into their full potential and build lives and careers that nourish your soul, right? And last week on Empower Hour, we did vision casting, and I actually changed my title to Soulful Prosperity Coach and created that new logo out of the process of vision casting. And I'm not even done. So when I go away, I'm going to be spending many hours casting my vision for the future. Good morning. I see so many people. Good morning, Olivia. Good morning, Eileen. Good morning, Jose. Good morning, Mayru. Good morning, Bryce. Thank you so much, you guys, for being here. And let's get started. So, becoming anti-fragile, again, is something that is near and dear to my heart. So, who am I? I'm Jen Marr. I am a soulful prosperity coach. I have reinvented myself at the age of 51 because it was 2 years ago. And after 30 something years in real estate, or 20 something, 29 years in real estate, I had a big change, a big shift, and I went all in on my coaching business. And that's who I am. And that's why I'm here today to share with you about anti-fragile. So what does that mean? People are always like, what does that mean? So anti-fragile, there's fragile, which is when you're very weak. If anything happens to you, you're just going to break. You're going to fall apart. You're just going to be a mess, and all the drama. And I'm sure right now you can envision people that you know that are fragile. And you may have areas of your life where you are fragile and areas where you are strong. But overall, you tend to be fragile or strong. Strong is where you are resilient. You are strong and you can take it. There's a couple of problems with strong. I'm going to actually put this on the full thing for a moment. When you are strong, you are basically saying to the world, I can handle this. I can take it. I can do it. And so it keeps throwing it at you. The thing about strong as well is that eventually you will break. Anti-fragile surpasses resilience and being strong. You took away my screen. Where did my slides go? The strong endure. But anti-fragile, can you get my slides back up, please? Anti-fragile completely reinvents itself, renews, becomes a better version of themselves through every single struggle, every single triumph, and it's amazing. All right, so I don't know where my slides went, so I'm going to come over here. And I can't see the screen, so hopefully we're going to be good. Mercury in retrograde. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story with somebody's playing games with me with these slides right now. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story with becoming strong. I was born to my mom and dad like the rest of us. They divorced at a very young age. And I had, somewhat of a tumultuous childhood. I had a very loving mom. She did the best that she could. She was raised by dysfunctional parents. Father died when she was very young. Mother was not exactly mother material. Raised by aunts and uncles and her mom, all dysfunctional, most alcoholics, all died very young. So she kind of raised herself, met my dad, had me, and they were divorced by the time I was 1. And so that childhood sort of just continued that way. There wasn't a lot of supervision. There was a lot of trauma, a lot of chaos, and a lot of, not great behavior. I mean, we were doing things at the age of 6 or 7 that teenagers start to do. And then I went into my teenage years and I created this persona of party girl. And really felt disconnected, very alone, and had already survived a lot of trauma. And a lot of trauma took place in my childhood. And then I met a boyfriend who turned me on to heroin. I was already a party girl. I took to the heroin, and the next thing you know, a few years later, fast forward, I'm on the streets, addicted to crack, and went through all the trauma that comes along with that. I end up getting pregnant under those circumstances. And this is where I started to use all of that strength that I had gained and started becoming like Superwoman. And had my daughter. And this definitely was a huge chapter in my life that helped me to use my resilience and use my strength and everything that I had gone through to try to create a better version of me and a better life. But I was being strong and I was in survival mode. So in this place, I was able to become, top producing realtor, a leader in my community, a leader in the business community, a leader in the real estate industry. I definitely was not mother of the year. I was so hyper focused on being this strong person, overcoming this past, than I really was in my present moment and what was truly, truly important. Then personal development entered my life. I stumbled upon a monastery here near my house, a Buddhist monastery. I got into a 7-year program. I became an ordained Buddhist priest, an ordained Buddhist meditation teacher. Meditation did become a huge part of my life, but I was still a hot mess. I was still a hot mess, and I was still focused on the external, like what do people think of me? And that was really all that was important. I was strong, I was resilient, I was tough, I was all these things, and I was a leader. Damn it. So I got into this personal development, but it didn't really sink in deep. And a few years, like maybe 10 years ago, I developed my 7-year plan, which was great. And this came from the results of working with some coaches. And I learned about manifestation, and I put together this 7-year plan, and I pretty much hit every box on the 7-year plan. And because I'm strong, I know how to survive. I know how to get through. That beach house that I'm going to tomorrow was on that 7-year plan. Lots of success, but I still had that void. And so that living in survival mode will leave you empty, will leave you wanting more, no matter how much you get. That also is what being strong does to you, because strong is all, and resilient is really all about the exterior, and you're not focused on the interior. So the 7-year plan goes great. And then a few years later, about 2 years ago, boom, my income, my savings, my identity, all that reputation and leadership, boom, gone in an instant. Had a very tumultuous partnership breakup. And boom, it was crazy because this happened within minutes. I was already a better version of myself because of all the rituals and the routines and the things that I had been putting in place. I had gotten a coach probably about, that's when I started the 7-year plan. And then when pandemic happened, I doubled down with my coach. When I went through the pandemic, I also doubled down on all of the routines and the rituals that make me a better version of me. I quit drinking alcohol because that was a mooring line for me. It was holding me back. I was using it as a crutch. And so when this happened, I had become anti-fragile through this process. So I had shifted from survival mode, right, to becoming anti-fragile. So what did that mean? So it means my reaction was more about, okay, what are the lessons here? How do I become a better version of me? How do I become a better mother, a better grandmother, a better leader, a better coach, right? And I went all in on my coaching business. And that was it. That was when I was able to finally take down the walls, remove all the shells, right? A shell. Yeah, I had a shell around me. When I was able to finally take those down, that's when all of a sudden I realized what my purpose was, what my calling was, and who I was. My job is to help other people get through this life and not get through it in survival mode. How to tap into, and this is for business owners and entrepreneurs, when you can get to this space and you are tapped in because your walls are down and you are anti-fragile and you are not leading with need, fear, or scarcity, that's where all the miracles open up. That's where all the blessings are. That's where all the abundance and the prosperity lives, in that space. So that is the shift from being strong to becoming anti-fragile. You are now open to receive. You are now in line with, aligned with the universe. So that's my story. So you say, how do you do this? What are the tactics? What are the things that you need to do to become anti-fragile? But before I move on, does anybody have any questions about that process so far, and that difference between being strong and resilient, which is really survival mode, and becoming anti-fragile? And becoming anti-fragile is where you are living fully in faith and trust. Okay, great. So to become anti-fragile, there's an expression by Marcus Aurelius: the obstacle is the way. So one of the first things that I put into place, and I did a very long time ago, was optionality. So what is optionality? Optionality is knowing that if plan A doesn't work, I'm going to go to plan B. And if plan B doesn't work, I'm going to go to plan C, so on and so forth, all the way till you get to plan Z. And listen, I think I'm literally on plan like triple D at this point. So optionality, being flexible and being open, because I now know that with that 7-year plan, I was so rigid. I was putting square pegs in round holes. I just wanted to check those boxes. I was not open to the outcomes that the universe had in store for me. Another thing that I do to foster this anti-fragility is every single day I take time to tap into the highest version of myself. Tap into the woman of my dreams. Who is she? What does she do? What decisions does she make? How does she respond? How does she react? That does not mean that I am 100% perfect at that. It means that I get better and better every day because I set that intention every morning to be my future self. I take moments to affirmact. Right? What's affirmact? It means when a situation, and we're not talking about big business decisions and big life decisions, we're talking about the stupid little stuff that happens. You take that opportunity to respond as the highest version of yourself. Someone that you work with is, maybe not as smart or doesn't get it, and they are struggling and they are pulling you down. You go to them and you support them and you help them through that process. I guarantee you that affirmation will help the creativity and the flow of your team, instead of getting into that place of negative emotions and a lower vibration of being annoyed, being snippy, not being loving, not being supportive. That's affirmation. Agency. I became 100% responsible for my emotions and my outcomes. 100% responsible. I did not get into the full story, but with my business partnership breakup, there were a lot of things that I could have been a victim on. I could have been angry. And I mean, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of anger and a lot of hurt and a lot of these emotions, but I did not get stuck in them. I took agency and took responsibility for the outcome. I'm not a victim, and the emotions that were behind it, and work through them and process them and use them as a catalyst to grow and design a life worth living. Anti-fragile confidence. This is what something I already touched upon. This comes from being aligned with your values, with your mission, with your purpose, and knowing exactly who you are, what you want, and what you need to work on, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and knowing that no matter what, everything will work out, and everything is always working out for you, especially because you show up, and you will always show up. That doesn't mean you don't need a day where you're taking some time to yourself here and there, but you show up, and you show up fully no matter what. That's where anti-fragile confidence comes from. And emotional stamina was something I needed to build up. So when this circumstance happened, and within a few minutes, I went from the top of the world with money and income and flow and blah, and this great reputation, to it all being gone. I had built up emotional stamina to be able to get through that situation without being fragile, without breaking, without having, days and weeks and months of stress. Matter of fact, I went out, I bought a card. I forgot what the card said, but it was basically a motivational note to myself. And I put it up on the mirror, and I knew I had the anti-fragile confidence to know that I can get through this, and I'm going to get through this. So then you also want to start viewing challenges as the opportunity to bring out the best of you instead of a threat. Right in this very moment, you are either vibrating on a very high level. This is exciting. I'm going to become a better version of myself. Let me look through the gifts in this. But if you view it as a threat, you start vibrating on those lower frequencies, those lower emotions like stress and anxiety and fear and scarcity and all of those things. So every single challenge, you guys, I had lunch with a really good friend of mine the other day who lost her husband under really, really emotionally challenging circumstances out of the blue, young man, blah, blah, blah. And I asked for permission to dive into this a little bit with her. And I asked her, what are the gifts? And, she kind of looked at me like, what do you mean? What are the gifts? What are the gifts? But I saw in her something switch, something change right there in that moment when she started looking for the gifts of this situation and this circumstance. And I am not belittling, some of the trauma and the drama of life. I've been there and been through it. It's really about how we respond. And that's what's the most important. Okay. So when those challenges come on, bring it on. That's exactly where you want to go emotionally. It's not a threat. All right. So, and that true confidence and that faith, it comes from action. I truly believe action is the solution to so many problems. So many people are stuck. And I'm talking about even you guys, high level, top producing people get stuck. I was stuck. And if you looked at it from the outside, you would have thought I was living the best life ever. I mean, most people did. And I thought I was. But I had the void. I still needed to use alcohol as a crutch. I was still angry. I was still all of those things. I still didn't have the healthiest relationships I possibly could with my children. I was not the best wife. I was not the best daughter. I mean, that is not success. So that's where the true confidence and faith comes from, the action. There's that integrity gap. Where am I at today and what am I capable of being? And what needs to happen for me to get to where I want to be, or what what I'm capable of. And in that integrity gap of where you're at today and all the things that you get to do in order to become the highest and best version of yourself, live your full potential, lies those negative emotions where you feel depressed and anxious. So I promise you, if you just begin to take action in every area of your life where you feel fragile and every area of your life where you're struggling, just put together a plan and move forward. Don't do it like I did. It doesn't have to be rigid. It's just action. Also, having a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. If I had a fixed mindset when that situation happened, I would be done. So immediately I expanded and said, okay, here I go. I'm going all in on my coaching business. Oh, I don't have any money. That's okay. All in, all in. I did not have a fixed mindset that said, oh no, you need to have the capital. You need to have this. You need to have that. No, I went right into how do I become this version of myself so that I can actually make this happen. And then bring it on. Change that algorithm. We're going to get into algorithms, but algorithms are when this happens, right? So changing that response immediately as soon as something happens that isn't going your way, is tragic, sad, heartbreaking, causes you any of those feelings, any of those negative emotions, I want you to turn around and say, bring it on. I am ready, right? And you have that true confidence and faith because you've been taking the action. Hope equals vision plus agency and a plan. And living in hope is the best place. Moving forward with hope, no matter what, is because you have that vision, you have that agency and the ownership, and you're taking 100% responsibility for your emotions and your outcomes, and a plan, and you're moving forward. And win or learn. You're either winning or you're learning. You are failing forward. It is inevitable. You have to fail. You have to stumble. You have to fall flat on your face. You have to make a fool out of yourself. You guys, I have made a fool out of myself so many times live and on my videos, but I know my calling. I know my purpose. I know that I can help people tap into the best version of themselves. And guess what? When they tap into the best version of themselves, they're going to help other people. And then we're going to see a much better world in 40 years. I know a lot of people that are on a similar mission. So I'm just going to do my part. My goal is to help over 1 million people and businesses by the next leap year. Okay. So I don't care. I don't care if I'm coming on here and I'm failing and I'm saying the wrong things. Sure, I'll beat myself up for a moment, but then immediately I come out of it, and my staff can attest to this who are watching, that I'll immediately come out of it with a new idea, a new way to move forward in a new process. And it's not always easy, right? But I move forward with hope, and I have a plan, and I know I'm either winning or learning. Very important that you have a huge amount of self-care in your life. One of the coaches that I aligned myself with, John Chaplock, he taught me to take care of myself physically, right? I had been meditating for all of these years. I thought I had this whole, it was really just an escape, or it was like to soften my toughness and my strength. But I wasn't actually going within because I wasn't taking care of myself physically. And I don't know if that makes any sense to you, but once I started to take care of myself physically, it all fell into place. I finally was able to get into my seat of consciousness after 10 plus years of meditating. I was finally able to answer the question of who am I? And I was able to tap into this highest version of myself. I now have such a crystal clear version of what my highest version of me is that I can get there like that. And that is not something I didn't even know I had any potential. So self-care, kindness, and compassion, super, super important. And now knowing I have been coming out more and more with my personal story. And the other night I was in my room, something came up. It brought up a really bad memory of something that I went through. And I came running out. I went into my youngest daughter and just sat on the couch and cried. And I love you, Julia, for she just let me have that space. She didn't have to ask and like, what's going on? How can I help you? How can I fix you? She just let it be. And I was able to, express those emotions. But yes, scars, those things, they are like medals. We should wear them with pride. These are things that we have overcome. And by sharing it with other people, you're going to help them to be able to overcome as well. And obviously, having a coach, having a mentor, super, super, super important that, to help you set those goals, have accountability, put a plan in place, and have those actions. Sorry, I see some questions here. Oops, sorry, somebody else was doing it. Any small daily tips to stay in that mindset? Yes, we're gonna go through some processes, but having a routine, right? The mindset you want to be in. So create a routine that starts in the morning and starts in and that you start your day in the morning and that ends your day in the evening, that fosters and gives you bookends to this mindset that you want to live in and that space you want to be in. And that helps a lot. But I'm going to tell you something. I have gone a step further on this recently because I was so entrenched in my morning routines and my evening routines that I was not tapping into or giving myself the space for the times where during the day I needed it. I was relying on the bookends. And so now, before I came on here, before I'm dealing with a client, before I'm, prospecting, before I'm doing things, I take the time and the space. 3 deep breaths will take you to a whole other world, will reset your nervous system. And you need to be crystal clear on who you want to be. What is that mindset? What space do I want to live in? I was really judgy about the word of the year. This whole thing about what's your word of the year? And I'm like, who can pick a word? Right now, I have a bunch of words in front of me. I have spirituality, fairness, hope, forgiveness, bravery, zest, curiosity, love, and gratitude. I'm supposed to pick one. Those are the words that I'm embodying at this time. That's what's important to me. So going back to the answer of how you stay in that mindset, it dawned on me, gratitude. This is the ultimate space. So I'll take that as a word of the year. And if I haven't mentioned it, gratitude is the ultimate space of receivership. And it's impossible to be sad, anxious, angry, and grateful at the same time. You could be sad and angry at the same time, but you cannot be sad and grateful. So embodying gratitude, and I'm not talking about just writing the 5 things I'm grateful for. I'm talking about embodying them. I'm talking about you have that memory of something you're grateful for, reach out to that person and say, you made a difference in my life. You did this for me. Embodying it, living it, not just having it be flat on a piece of paper. So I hope that answered that question. Yes, Caitlin, bring it on. Bring it on. I'm just seeing these, so I'm pulling them up. If they were up already, I'm sorry. What does taking responsibility for your emotions really look like? It's getting out of victimhood, right? Nobody else caused your emotions. It's your reactions. It's your mindset. And this is tough, especially for people that are very sensitive. And a lot of this, you guys, you were born this way. You inherited a lot of how you react to things from your ancestors, but that's what mindfulness is all about, right? You are now not just programmed from what was handed down from your ancestors and, you know, what you learned in the womb and what you learned as a child in your environment. You are now taking responsibility for who you are, how you want to show up, how you respond, and regardless of circumstances and how other people behave, that doesn't impact me. And I have lots of rituals around that, right? Putting an armor, a bubble around myself at the beginning of the day and saying, so that those negative emotions, I'm an empath, a very deep empath, and I suffered for a long time because, you know, and then I got tough instead of being the empath that I truly am. That doesn't work. So now I protect my energy. I'm learning, and I'm not perfect, on how to set the boundaries and how to say no, because at the end of the day, I'm not taking on other people's energy. That's not what, you know, and that's a lot of us not being responsible for our emotions is because we're not protecting ourselves and we're taking on that other energy. And you can see how this can impact trying to build a business, grow a business, or try to take a business to the next level. And so getting into these habits and these routines is super, super important if you want to build a life and a career that nourishes your soul, right? Soulful prosperity. Yes, I built an amazing life and a career, but I wasn't nourishing my soul. So, all right. So I want to do an exercise. Let's start here. If you can put the music on in a minute, let me explain. So hopefully you have pen and paper. If not, you can do this just through visualization. Please, if you have tuned in, take this few minutes. We're going to do a couple of exercises that are really going to help you move towards anti-fragility and make a huge difference. So I want you to write a letter to your future self 1 year from now, describing all the challenges you have already overcome and the growth you've experienced, including specific goals you hope to achieve and the traits that you want to embody, those anti-fragile traits. This is how you become emotionally responsible, Caitlin, right? By embodying those traits. I have in front of me, I'm going to say it again, a sign. It says spirituality, fairness, hope, forgiveness, bravery, zest, curiosity, love, and gratitude. Those are the anti-fragility traits that are most important to me right now, where I am at in this life. And actually, the first three are my strengths. I took a strengths test. And so I want to live in my strengths. So I'm not going against the grain and embody these emotions. Please put that music on and let's just take a couple of minutes and let's write this letter. As we write this letter, I'm going to guide you through a little station to help you. Right? So you want to begin to picture yourself 1 year from now. Really envision who you are, what you're wearing, who are you with, how did you get here? What did you need to overcome to get to this place 1 year from now? Whether it's in your career, it's in your creative projects, it's in your relationships, it's in your spiritual well-being, your physical well-being. Really tap into what you needed to overcome, what you needed to learn, and who you needed to become to get there. Oh, I see a bunch of people on Instagram. Hello, Nancy. Hello, you, Hakeem. Hello, Trinity, Kelly, Armandi, Jose, and what by MG. Thank you guys for tuning in over on Instagram. All right. This future version of yourself, 1 year from now, close your eyes, right? What are all those challenges you have overcome? And what's the growth you have experienced? And include specific goals you hope to achieve and the anti-fragile traits that you want to embody. And those are positive emotions, pretty much, positive traits. And we get lots of good use out of our negative traits. So we are not trashing our negative traits. We are just using these anti-fragile traits to help us grow, to help us overcome. Be as clear as you can. If you are an artist, I encourage you to draw this version of yourself. I have one here. It's very hilarious because I am not an artist. But I went through the process anyway, because I now am so crystal clear on my future version of myself and what that person looks like. I know what I smell like. I know what I'm wearing. I know how I react when I accomplish these goals. I know how I celebrate. I know exactly what I need to learn, exactly what I need to do. And this is important. Get this down. What do you need to stop doing? What do you need to stop doing to achieve these goals and to become the woman or the man of your dreams? What is that one thing, if you stop doing now, would push you more forward than anything else? And what is that one thing, if you started doing, would push you more forward than anything else? I don't know if you recycled that song, but we just wanted to play it once. Yes. Thank you. All right. Beautiful. So you're going to get these, because I know that's not a lot of time for you to write that letter. So I'm just giving you a taste of it. If you registered, you will get these slides and you will get access to all kinds of things. And you'll have an opportunity to do that at the end if you're not registered to do those exercises. So now there's one other exercise that I really love. It's the circle of control. And if you don't know the Serenity Prayer, it's literally the only prayer in my life. I'm not a prayer. I am a meditator. I'm a visualizer. And so the Serenity Prayer is, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So this circle of control, you're going to draw 2 circles, or you can envision them if you don't have pen and paper. And they're one inside the other. So they're like in overlapping, right? In the inner circle, the one in the middle, because now you've kind of created, you're going to write what aspects of your life you can control. And in the outer circle, so what can you control? Attitudes, behaviors, decisions, reactions. And in the outer circle, I want you to write down what you can't control. This is, and the next song, please. This is a very important exercise that we're not going to spend a lot of time on. But you really need to start to become very clear. Caitlin, this is how you become 100% responsible for your emotions and your outcomes. You only focus on what you can control. You only put into play and into action things that you can control, right? Not focusing on the things that you can't control. I'm thinking our music didn't work. So this shouldn't take you too long. I'm going to give you like another 30 seconds and we're going to move on. Things you can control and things you can't control. Like a Venn diagram. I don't know what a Venn diagram is, but two circles. And then there's like a circle in the middle, right? Because you've created them overlapping. Don't even overthink it. Two lists. What I can control, what I can't control. All right. All right. So for those of you who have been able to finish that list, if not, I'm not trying to rush you, but I want to move on for people who have. Routines and algorithms. If you could just shut the music for a second, I want to ask you to put it back on. But routines and algorithms. So these are the things that really help forge that anti-fragile confidence, help forge that emotional stamina that you're going to need to tap into at times where life throws you, as one of my coach Bill Pipe says, a shit burrito, right? Life throws you the shit burrito and you're just like, what? Right? Having this storage of emotional stamina to get you through is going to come from your current routines. So one of the best ways to set up routines is through algorithms. If this, then that. So think about your day now. I wake up, I brush my teeth, I go get coffee. So how can you, whatever your routines are, how can you plug into these algorithms, right? So those routines are actually algorithms because when this happens, that happens. When this happens, that happens. When this happens, that happens. So how can you plug in some of the new routines that you want to put in place to build this anti-fragility, become anti-fragile, and build that anti-fragile confidence and build that emotional stamina, build that hope that, you know, this action is going to give you that trust and that hope and that faith that you need in order to sustain anti-fragility. So what are those current routines and where in those algorithms can you plug in the new routines to ensure that they happen, right? If you are a coffee drinker and you are a teeth brusher, I hope you're all a teeth brusher. What did you feel like when you leave the house without brushing your teeth? What do you feel like when you leave the house without drinking your coffee? Right? So these other routines, meditation, journaling, breath work, exercise, any other routines that you have, reading, learning your trade, spending 10 minutes a day reading about the things that you want to embody in your career and in your business. You've got to get them plugged into your algorithms and into your routines in order to make them really happy. I am so guilty of this because I put all my other clients' needs before my own. And then the next thing you know, I haven't accomplished what I need to accomplish. So I've spent the last 2 years making new routines and new algorithms so that I am ensuring. And besides, what kind of coach am I if I am not taking care of myself and feeding myself spiritually and taking care of myself physically? I would be pouring from an empty cup. And you too, whatever your business is, whatever your career, if you do not prioritize these rituals, these routines, and get them into an algorithm, so they happen automatically. So if you left the house without doing it, or you begin work, because I don't always leave the house, and you begin work without doing it, you don't feel the same. All right. So that's super important. So write that list of what your routines are now. And again, you're going to get these slides so you can work on them after. While you are continuing writing your what I can control, what I can't control, and your routines and your algorithms and what you want to plug into them, this is a good time. If you have any questions, thoughts, or breakthroughs, I will answer them. How can we identify areas of fragility in our lives? What are the common signs? The common signs are fear, scarcity, anxiety, depression. That's where you are fragile, where you are feeling those lower emotions around a situation, a person, a thing, whatever. That's where you are fragile. And that's where you want to purposefully apply your intentions for a certain circumstance, a certain relationship, a certain situation. So, very, very important that you are able to identify that. So that is why stillness is so important. So here's a little thing that I want you to do when you begin to feel these emotions of stress, anxiety, sadness, beating yourself up, whatever it is. Take 3 deep breaths. So I'm not sure who you are from LinkedIn. It doesn't always show the name, but thank you for asking that question, because it's really important that we begin to be able to identify those areas. It's okay, you can go to the next. And that we set our intentions specifically to raising our vibrations around those areas that we are still fragile in. And I still have mine. Of course I do, right? Eileen Riley needed the reminder to prioritize my routine. My routine is for everyone else with a little sprinkle of working out daily. Yes, yes. Prioritize your routine. Here's the thing. This is my mom. Here's the thing, mom. When you prioritize yourself, you become more available, more present, more enjoyable to be around, more of everything for everybody else. And I think you can attest to the difference that you see in me in the last few years when I just prioritized my self care, my needs, my routines, my habits, my choices. I became a better version of myself in every area of my life and had more joy, more freedom, more of everything. The abundance by focusing on myself that opened up is just incredible. How can leaders and businesses adopt anti-fragile strategies to handle unexpected challenges? The same way. See, here's the thing too. Like, I finally learned that there is not this big division between career and business and personal life. It's all one. So leaders and businesses and adopting anti-fragile strategies looks very similar. Is there space in your environment for people to breathe and reset? Is there a loving and supportive atmosphere? Is there action? Is there supported action? Is there clear goals? Do you have your virtues and your values and your vision clear to everybody on your team? Is it clear to your clients? Is it clear to your customers? Are you taking care of yourself? You cannot be a really good leader or a great business owner without making sure to be taking care of yourself and to have some sort of spiritual practice or, compassion practice or whatever practice works for you, and that you're taking care of yourself physically and that you're not coming from a place of need and scarcity. So it's exactly the same is the answer. What mindsets are essential for adopting an anti-fragile approach to life and work? The mindset shifts are going from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset. A fixed mindset that this is what it has to be. And a growth mindset is, oh wow, this is a new space. This is a new place. I wasn't expecting this. What am I going to learn? What is the version of me going to be on the other side of this? How am I going to grow? That's that shift. Wow. Okay. I love this, you guys. Can you share an example? Okay. Yeah, no, go to Maru's. I like having the name on it. So just one comment more than a question. When you feel bad, it's okay to sit with it for a few rather than saying, I shouldn't feel it. I am not weak and trying to be strong. I did that on Monday about something that happened and it showed up in different ways throughout the week. So give yourself permission. I am still, I don't know what a WIP, woman in progress, I think. But yeah. And these emotions, and then, that's a whole nother story. Shadow work is another program that I run, where you really learn to embrace what you perceive as negative traits and negative emotions. And there are times when you want to tap into them and they're going to serve a purpose. Absolutely. We just don't want them running our lives. So being able to acknowledge and label and absorb and process, like I did the other night when I was hysterical, not hysterical crying, but crying, and went out there. I just needed the space to process it and feel what I was feeling. But it didn't carry into the next day. It didn't even carry into the rest of the evening. I was able to sit with it and embrace it. Give it a seat at the table, right? All of our emotions deserve a seat at the table. They just don't get to drive the ship. Love that. Thank you, Maru. Bryce, thank you so much for joining us. Yes, work in progress. Thank you, Maru. I'm so excited. Please share them with me. I want to hear. And let's see, what do you do on days when it feels like one thing after another? How do you stay feeling anti-fragile? Okay, I just shared this with my mom the other day. We used to go to the monastery in Kent, and there was this one most adorable monk who used to say this. He used to say, the moment you realize everything is already perfect, you just laugh out loud. And he would go, ha, ha, ha. And that's what you got to do. Like, it's almost like, really? Okay, bring it on. Use that algorithm of bring it on. David Goggin uses Roger that, right? Roger that. You want to hand me a shit burrito? Roger that. Bring it on. I'm okay. And know that wherever these things, these inconveniences or these, challenges, these struggles, or these people that are acting ways and all of that, it doesn't impact who you are in your essence. And if you can take that time every day to get into your stillness and to get into that place of knowing exactly who you are and what you want and how you want to show up, there's nothing that can change that. It'll be annoying, it'll be this and it'll be that, but it doesn't take you off track for long, right? Maybe it will for minutes and moments. Get to a place where it's minutes and moments instead of an entire day, an entire week. And guess what, you guys? You are witnessing people who have living an entire life that way. So just having that mindfulness to ask that question is beautiful. So thank you. All right. So how do you distinguish? I'm just going to take like one more question. This is it. This is the last question. How do you distinguish between resilience and anti-fragility? Because can too much resilience be a drawback? When you're being tough and you're in survival mode, instead of being open to growing through the challenges, that's the difference between resilience and anti-fragility, right? You are looking forward to this challenge because I'm going to be a better version of myself on the other side. Resilience is kind of like, did you ever hear like in kindergarten when you put the kick me sign on somebody and you think it's funny, right? I'm sure you young people on here have no idea what I'm talking about, but that it literally is being resilient and strong and in survival mode is more of that, like, yeah, bring it on, but not in the best way. Bring it on because I am strong and I can handle it, is almost attracting those circumstances as opposed to just being open to whatever outcomes are going to fall in front of you and having that anti-fragile confidence that no matter what, I'm going to show up, do what I need to do, and it's going to work out because everything is always working out for me. That is one of my favorite mantras. Everything is always working out for me. And everything is happening for me, not to me. There's a reason. And then start looking, right? That conversation I had with my friend, I mean, that was difficult. It was her husband, passed, and just under really deeply emotionally disturbing circumstances. And I asked her to look for the gifts. There are gifts in everything, and just trusting that this is happening for me, not to me. I am not a victim. I'm not a victim to these annoying things. There's a reason. They could, your car not starting. Sorry, Olivia, Julia, I'm picking on you today. Your car not starting could have saved you from an incredible accident. You have no way of knowing, but it's nicer to trust that it's happening for you and not to you. Okay. This has been amazing. And thank you as I, work through my kinks, become a better presenter. But this is what I'm super excited about. So for business owners and entrepreneurs, I am putting together a program called Beyond Limits. It has an elite one-on-one. It has, or elite one-on-one or with your entire team alone. I have group offerings. I have a few different things, and it's going to be on a wait list, probably launching sometime at the, in mid-May to the end of May. But this literally is like the one place, one source for coaching, operations, team buildings, growth, accountability, mindset. Every business, I've been doing this unofficially with one business at a time, and I have had massive growth and results from everybody that I've worked through in this program, where it's just mind-blowing. And I'm going to be putting it out there for such an affordable place. This program really is like hiring a CEO or a project manager. It's like bringing in somebody at $100,000+ a year salary to help you get everything aligned and moving and rowing in the same direction. And you will see massive growth, massive traction, massive profitability. Plus, there will be an atmosphere that is nourishing your soul. So I guess we didn't put the registration for that. Can you put the registration for that up? Do you guys have that link? Please, God. So that's Beyond Limits. That's my big announcement, because this is something that is unattainable or not reachable for many small business owners and many entrepreneurs at the amount of value one-on-one time that you're going to get with me. So can you guys please put the link up? I feel like I'm talking to a delay today. So there we go. So that's the Beyond Limits. And what you're going to get with that is all of this stuff on here: coaching, operations, team building, growth, accountability, you name it. And also, this is customizable. So you have a unique team and a unique situation. This starts with a deep dive call to work out a program that is perfect for you. So that is my Beyond Limits that I am announcing today, and very excited because I've been trying to think of how can I reach as many people and as many businesses as possible. I'm putting together free workshops, and Beyond Limits is one of my, it has both a very affordable way to do it in groups, and it has the elite one-on-one if you need me to come to you remotely and, make it happen. So please check it out and just reach out to me if you have any questions. And for you today, for being here with me, I have put together, and this is always growing, a Soulful Prosperity resource kit. There's meditations, visualizations, there's white papers, there's all kinds of things for you. And if you did not register today for this, Alta, please, if you have the Empower Hour link, get registered for Empower Hour, which right now is happening every Friday, because you then get access to the library forever. And there's a whole bunch of other, besides these Soulful Prosperity resources, there's a lot of other things in there. Okay. So I am very grateful. This Becoming Antifragile is a really important talk for me, Thank you for helping me grow and learn and tap into the highest version of myself and grow into the highest version of myself with you here today. Thank you.